Hey guys, what's up? What's going on? This is RJ Game News USA, back today with another video, and today we're gonna go over the Silent Hill F review scores. We're looking at the Metacritic. So if you like this kind of content, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And let's jump right into it. So Silent Hill F got a 86 on Metacritic. There's 76 scored reviews, 71 were positive, 5 mixed, and we're going to go over it. So let's see. And we're going to start with the perfect scores. A 100 from Dextero, saying Silent Hill F is a bold new direction for Konami's iconic survival horror series. While it may put a heavier emphasis on combat, Neobards has expertly concocted a nightmarish cocktail oozing with enough stomach-churning monsters. Inverse, with a perfect 100, saying it's a game that manages to honor the series' legacy while simultaneously pushing it in a new direction. And it might be the best Silent Hill to date. Retcon with a perfect 100, saying Silent Hill F expertly weaves elements of Japanese mythology and folklore into the history of... I can't even say that word, so we're going to move on. Game Rant with a perfect 100, saying Hinako's journey in Silent Hill F is brutal, beautiful, and brilliant. And a 100 from Radio Times, saying Silent Hill F marks the return of the franchise in a big way. It's revitalized, it's exciting, it's haunting, and it's terrifying. With the doors wide open for more horror and experimentation to expand the franchise, I can't wait for more. I'm going to go ahead and full disclosure here. I have no interest in Silent Hill F. If you guys know by now, when I go over review scores for games, like 90% of these games, I just pass them by. Look, we only have so many hours in a day, and only so much money to spend, so tough choices are made sometimes, and so Silent Hill is not a game I'm really interested in. However, I know plenty of my audience might be, so I want to give them an informed opinion. PC Mag with a perfect 100, saying Silent Hill F is tremendous new entry in the horror series that blends well-known hallmarks into something engaging, challenging, and wholly original. Alright. So about a 96 from Game 8, saying Silent Hill F is a bold step forward for the franchise, blending its trademark psychological horror with innovative gameplay systems that push survival horror to a new territory. The story grips you, the visuals unsettle you, and the music seeps into your bones. So we're going to skip around a little bit. We're not going to read every single review. We have a bunch of 95s, but we're going to go with Destructoids 95, where they say psychological action horror at its finest. A new kind of Silent Hill that holds on to its roots and never falters. Experimental like Silent Hill 4. The Room T stands out by giving us something vastly different while sticking to and modernizing the fundamentals. And we got a 92 from Voxel, saying Silent Hill F is not just a return, it's a reinvention. Neobards and Konami have managed to bring the series back to relevance without relying on recycled formulas, opting instead for a fresh Japanese setting, a complex protagonist, and a combat system that defies expectation. And as expected, this game had a bunch of 90s. And we're going to read GameSpot's 90. They're notoriously hard graders normally, but they say perhaps this isn't surprising considering that nearly every part of Silent Hill F is crafted with the same level of care and skill, yet that doesn't make anything about this game and what Neobirds has achieved any less impressive. 90s looks like their pretty most common score on here, that's for sure. A whole bunch of 90s. But we'll get to an 88 from Level Up, where they say it's surprising to be here in the middle of 2025 talking about yet another Silent Hill game. Today the franchise is back with two well-defined paths, one that follows the conservative and traditional blooper team, and another that takes risks and experiments. Innoven with an 87 says, though its heavier focus on action initially raised concerns among longtime fans, the series' trademark psychological horror and mystery remain intact in its new 1960s Japan setting. No score was an 86, which would have been their Metacritic score overall. We do have 85s, however. Definitely a few 85s in there. I'm going to read Mara Station's 85. They say, if it had half the action, it would be twice as good and avoid the dreadful final stretch. Even so, Silent Hill F is one of the best entries in the series and a new survival horror classic. Alright. Of course, we're going to have a bunch of 80s on here. And we do. There's a bunch of 80s, a bunch of 90s. As usual when it comes to game reviews and releases. And we're going to read GamePro Germany's 80, where they say, at its best moments, it's an absolutely unique horror highlight, but in between, there's too much tedious and repetitive action. So that's the first time we've heard that criticism. Anyway, moving on. How about a 75 from Game Informer, saying Silent Hill F is a curious beast. Despite my misgivings, it's a good Silent Hill game and an enjoyable survival horror adventure in general. The game nails its oppressive and creepy atmosphere, and it boasts a killer presentation from visuals to audio. Seems like pretty good praise for a 75 if you ask me. Games.ch with a 73. We're now in the mixed review section. They say Silent Hill F shows some good approaches and in some parts even presents itself as innovative for the series without losing sight of the essence of Silent Hill. But the unintuitive schematic and too sluggish combat system significantly dampens gameplay. That would be an issue. A 70 from Game Reactor UK says all the practicalities, the combat system, the enemy's actual attack patterns and maneuvers, progression and upgrades, the game's item economy, all of this seems less polished, less precisely defined, and for that reason, it is easy to recommend Silent Hill. Wouldn't it be not easy to recommend that? Seems kind of backwards to me. Push Square with a 70, saying Silent Hill F takes the survival horror series in a new direction, which pays off for the most part. It's quite different, and hardcore fans will have to accept that. Combat is a heavy focus, and the move to Japan means there are several different kinds of tones and atmospheres. A 70 from IGN, the classic IGN 7 out of 10. They say Silent Hill F presents a fresh new setting to explore and a fascinating dark story to unravel, but its melee-focused combat takes a big swing that doesn't quite land. So I got a problem with the whole premise of the combat itself. IGN, the industry leader, not too thrilled. And the low score is a 60 from Tech Radar Gaming, where they say it may not be set in the titular town, but Silent Hill F undoubtedly encompasses the essence of the series with a dark, twisted, and emotionally weighted tale of psychological horror. It also takes plenty of imaginative and creative risks that are fantastic and flawed in equal measure. So despite the fact they gave it a 60 and a low score, there was a lot of high praise in the beginning of this review. But at the end of the day, they say it is a very flawed game. And I do notice that to be a theme throughout. I do think 86 feels kind of high for this game. I do think it probably should have been a little lower on Metacritic based on some of the criticisms I'm hearing. But again, I won't know because I really don't have intention to play this game. I really don't like mini horror games anyway. I love horror movies more than I love horror games. Just me personally. But anyway, what did you guys think? Are you picking up Silent Hill F? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace. I'm out. Have a good one.